I've been in AI before AI was cool, and back in the day, I had to fight like actually AI can do a decent job, right? But now I tell people AI is eating the world, and everybody's like, yes, I agree. So the changes that I've seen is that you don't need to spend either as much time or money to get similar or even better results, right? And for CEOs, we're pretty people and result oriented.
They say it's lonely at the top. They're right. But you don't have to scale your company alone. Welcome to the Scaling CEO. I'm Glenn Gow, the CEO Success Coach. On this podcast, I sit down with top performing CEOs to uncover the hidden patterns and frameworks behind their success so you can avoid common pitfalls and accelerate your company's growth. Now, on to the show. Today, we have Ninh Tran in the studio. Ninh is the CEO and co-founder of Grav.id, a company fundamentally rethinking digital identity and trust for communities. But to understand what he's building now, you have to understand his past. Nin's story is one of incredible grit. Born in Vietnam, raised in the Czech Republic, and eventually landing in the US. He saw firsthand how opportunity is tied to your circumstances, and he's dedicated his career to changing that. Before Grav.id, he was a founding member at HireEZ. He was in the trenches, scaling that company from an idea into the number one recruiting AI SaaS brand in the world. We're talking about taking a company from 0 to 8-figure recurring revenue, achieving an 8,100%, that's 8,100% year over year growth at one point, and pivoting the product 6 times just to find product market fit. He's an accomplished builder who has scaled every facet of a company, product, marketing, sales, all of it. He's here today to talk about what it really takes to scale, the lessons learned, and how he's applying it to his new mission. And welcome to the show.
Glenn, awesome to be here. I don't know if I deserve all of that praise, but yes, I've done things very blessed in my life to be able to partner with some amazing founders and builders. So here I am.
Well, that might be part of the story we'll talk about scaling. So your personal story is very powerful. So moving from Vietnam to the Czech Republic to the US and seeing how opportunity shifts with geography. You've said you wanted to solve poverty for people. That's really amazing and really a big vision. Most founders talk about their TAM and their ARR, but this is a different level of why. How does that core mission change how you handle the brutal everyday realities of scaling a business?
I we face that every day actually because now at Gravity we're doing AI for nonprofits, and one of the solutions that we've built is solution that helps nonprofits find and secure grant funding, and the reason why we arrived at building this product instead of anything else, which by the way is by far the most popular thing because every nonprofit you talk to, you say grants, fundraising, like, yes, I need it
Yes, they
now,
listen. They listen when you start talking that. Yeah.
especially with all of the changes with US aid
Oh yeah.
and the political scene. It is top of mind for people.
Yeah.
And so, how do I arrive at helping folks who are helping others? I enjoy doing that all the time. Especially so I'm born originally in Vietnam, moved to Czech Republic, and my family was dirt poor in Vietnam, and somehow we became wealthier in Czech because we did international trade from buying cheap things in Asia and reselling it with a pretty decent margin in Europe. It was a good service that they provided, and then I came to US somehow, right? And I went to school here, studied tech, and then my life changed again. Of course, like moving to Czech and moving to US changed my life. But then when I got into tech, my life changed again because now
Mm.
I can afford to stay in the Bay Area, and building HireEZ, life changed again because we won like huge customers, like almost every brand that you can think of in tech and outside of tech. We work with them. But you can see like opportunities are not for granted. Like in the US, there's land of opportunities. A lot of people are still struggling to secure a job, live paycheck to paycheck. And when I look back at the impact that we've had with HireEZ, it's not the millions of dollars or the growth and all the amazing people that I work with and coach and mentor. All of that is amazing, but it's really the impact at the end of the day, helping 948,000 people find jobs or land jobs through partnerships with major brands each year. I can sleep with that, you know,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to always build something um, that emphasizes impact, and there's really no better way to do that than help uh, people who are in the trenches, directors of nonprofits who are responsible for funding and running the operation, to be able to properly resource the project. Because if the project is not resourced well or not funded well, it's likely going to fail.
Yeah. That's good. I really appreciate your focus there. So before we talk about gravity, I want to go back to HireEZ for a moment because you had a very, very interesting experience in the world of scaling. You went from zero to an eight-figure ARR very, very quickly. So what do you think was the single biggest blind spot CEOs have when they try to make that leap from a startup to a scale up company?
For us, it was just a couple of us, right? Founders, folks, three, and then we grew pretty quickly after a couple of years of just finding the right product. Number one, it was probably the finding the right product. So we scaled back. We did AI for recruiting, and we said it's all AI. But in fact, it was me and my associate that I hired who were doing all the recruiting work in the background. We just called it AI, automate everything. Um, it paid the bills. Honestly, recruiting is not rocket science. You just do it, and we made some ninja moves and helped other startups hire CTOs. But at some point, we were building solutions for ourselves that started to actually work. We were finding the people, we were placing candidates at different organizations, and then I started to train others on how to use this product, interns, whatever I had like talent scout program, and they started to place people and were successful in their jobs very quickly in just 2 to 3 months. So I'm like, holy cow, this actually works. What if we open it to public? And we're not going to charge a lot, maybe $30,
So
50, $60.
wait, so you built this for yourself
Yes.
and then discovered that we could offer this to
We
customers.
made money with it. We gave it to others. They used it. It was so it's one thing to build something that works for you. It can be very clunky. It has a lot of integrations like enterprise software. But then if you're able to replicate this success not just with you, but with 10, 20 others, that's 1 to 20 scale, and they're able to pick things up very quickly and follow the framework or and use the software. And then if it works for them, right, and you serve them well, then we went to the market, to sources and recruiters in the broader market, the industry, and we met a bunch of influencers, early influencers at the time. They gave us amazing feedback on what the tool actually really needed in order to make it solid. And quickly, I think in 6 months, we implemented all of that feedback. Did a lot of product research and whatnot, and then started to sell it. So people started to use it like crazy. I remember there's one source in India, recruiter in India, who used I think he sourced and looked through 10,000 candidates within a span of like 3 months after he discovered it.
That's amazing. So I want to be able to tell your story more often to people who I usually tell them a similar story, which is the Slack story, which is you may know this. Slack started as a gaming company and they started communicating internally using this thing they had created, which became Slack. But one of the other things that's super interesting about your story is you went and listened to customers and you
Absolutely.
immediately made the changes necessary to the product because I suspect they liked it, but they didn't love it yet. And you wanted them to love what you were offering to them. And that's one of the things that helped your explosive growth. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. We were deeply connected with the problem ourselves. We were doing the work ourselves. And
Yeah.
then we tried to, on a limited scale, pilot this with other people. And then we went to market, listen for more feedback, and open it up to market. At that point, when I opened it up to market, and I was booking, everybody was booking demos of this new fancy tool, because at that time we had community, and people were like, "Wow, this is the best contact finder for candidates that I could find on LinkedIn, even better than everything else that's been established on the market like 5 or 6 years." And we were cheaper and faster and better. Um, every other call that I had, so I did the sales myself at the time because just a couple folks, right?
Yeah.
Um, was a sale. Um, we were selling it about $60 a month at the time. So the average cost of my call, the average profit per call was about half, so $360. It was 50% close rate, and I use the sales to teach myself, and then of course I use this knowledge to teach my team and scale the sales team and whatnot. Uh,
That's Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
on all of the different pain points, the presentation skills, what people really care about, build out the sales pitch deck, like the revenue and the drivers. And after that, we figured, well, this is not scalable. Even if you spend an hour and it's $360 an hour, right? In order to really like boost and improve the company, I think first year we made something like 32,000 after maybe 3 to 4 months of launching the paid product that year, right? With just $60 a month solution. I was booked demos at some point, and that was pre-COVID, right? Pre-remote work.
Yeah.
At some point, I stayed at home just so that I can save time to drive to the office because so many calls.
Right.
Every call was like, $300, so we gotta make money, right? Drive the rate, and and then we launched an enterprise solution. We started 3,600, so 10x, and the sales conversion rates didn't drop. That dropped a little bit, maybe to like 30 to 40%, and people were signing up left and right. Um, and the first year, we were very blessed. We had a couple of enterprise pilots. Of course, now we're selling to enterprises, but one that a bunch of enterprises sign up on a smaller scale, but one that signed up on a massive scale was one of the biggest employers in the U.S., which is Amazon. They hired like all over the place, and at the time they had plans to scale, millions of people per year.
Wow.
Right, that was before all the or during the time when they were doing all the warehouse and as well as scaling their AWS teams. And so we help them with that. And once you get Amazon, right, then everybody else follows, all
That's
the
amazing. That's
Fortune
amazing.
companies. So
I want to ask you about that experience where you noted after processing millions of hires that the AI had biases and it underrepresented groups, and those groups were 50% more likely to get rejected. So that's a tough realization, although an important one. So how did that realization shape your approach to building Gravity? And what have you learned about building technology that truly serves humanity?
yeah, absolutely. You've done your research, Glenn. Uh, so we looked at the data, and even with a margin error, that's a big problem,
Yeah.
right? And so we try to build different solutions and products, and you kind of do it um, from the best intentions, right? But then we figured out, like, we build AI for coding assessments before even LLMs existed, and we found out that people don't want to have weighted scoring or weighted AI assessments
You
or
mean the
just
recruit the
AI.
people who hiring don't want to, or the
Yeah,
people being hired?
both on both sides.
Really?
They want to be hired for being the best,
Huh?
whether regardless of whether they're underrepresented or not. And the employers, although they cared about, okay, I don't really care about like what they look like, where they come from, and so on. The resume should speak for itself. But during the tests and interviews, right, I really want to see their problem solving skills, and their intuition or whatever the job required, right? Communication skills, passion, dedication, communication. So we found out like to build a product specifically to address underrepresented hiring doesn't work
Mm,
because um, ultimately, you know, it's hard to level the playing field with things like affirmative action, right? With like improving someone's chances. And I realized like if you study for a test, then you're likely gonna have a better score on the test. Whether it's and if you study for a job interview or you prepare, same thing for everybody,
right.
right? And the reasoning that underrepresented people just don't have the money or the time to prepare and study. Maybe they don't have the time to get a coach or a mentor or whatever it may be, right? Um, you know, should not inform what the product should do.
Right.
That's a societal problem.
Right.
Um, and similar for me, I wanted to solve poverty originally in college, right? When I studied econ, and I quickly realized like all of these economic development policies are there. It's just politics,
Mm.
right? Uh, and then it was real, so that's why I went back. Okay, well, maybe I want to take things into my own hands and do entrepreneurship in companies and startups and tech
Well,
and
that's
whatever.
great.
So here, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to take us to your new venture, Gravity, and I also wanted to ask about where AI fits in what you're doing with Gravity, because we can't ignore it anymore. And I don't know exactly how you're thinking about it, but it's certainly less of a tool and more of a foundational layer for business now. So imagine you are talking to other CEOs here on this podcast. So how does AI shift the playbook for a CEO thinking about scaling over the next 5 years? You can use Gravity as an example, but help us understand that, especially given your experience coming from HireEZ as an AI oriented company.
Yeah, I've been in AI before AI was cool, and back in the day, I had to fight like actually AI can do a decent job, right? But now I tell people AI is eating the world, and everybody's like, yes, I agree. So the changes that I've seen is that you don't need to spend either as much time or money to get similar or even better results, right? It's and for CEOs, we're pretty people and result oriented. So when it comes to people and results, for example, there's shift from hiring mass in order to I don't know complete grant applications to do fundraising, sales, marketing. Now you can have the agent do 90% of the legwork, and 10% is up to the person that's going to be managing that system or the role or be ultimately responsible for the results. So how they use the AI, how they set it up, how they teach it, what kind of instruction or in short prompt, how they prompt the engineer, um, the the prompts or how they set up the system to run for them, and how they adjust it, right, is going to be something that uh, determines whether you're gonna do 1x, 2x, 5x, 10x, 100x. So for us, when it comes to building AI for nonprofits, executive directors, they're overwhelmed. They don't have the time to do everything that they need to do,
Right.
right?
That's
From
right.
grant writing to engaging major donors to running their team, hiring, doing the work itself. So they're honestly, everybody I talk to, they love what we do, right? It just comes down to, okay, like they used to like using free AI tools because everybody does. Like everyone's using ChatGPT, Claude, and so on, Gemini. But then they still have to spend time to write the grant or to, like AI for social media is getting pretty good, and there's a lot of solutions out there to automate pretty much everything. Just talked to a founder who showed me, he was like, wow, you just set it up, runs it, measures, auto improves, does ads, SEO, social, right, and
Yeah.
analytics.
Yeah.
Awesome. And it took him like a month to build it, right? You can code, vibe code with AI. My
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
engineers, like things are possible in a record time that would take people, like months, if not years to do. So here, same thing. Even if you use the different AI tools, it still take people like 6 to 12 to 20 hours per grant application. Now they can just click a button, it's all done. And, and because we're using, we orchestrate different AI agents that are optimized for different sections of the grant process, right? Maybe finding the funding opportunity. Another one would be, how to summarize and learn more about your business so that inform other agents about, the core credibilities and competencies and advantages that your nonprofit has.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're doing is you're taking a capability which is broad, but takes a lot of time and effort, and you're bringing it down to the element of this is all we're trying to do. We're trying to do a grant application, so we're going to make your life even easier. We happen to be using AI to make that happen, but ultimately we're going to save you a lot of time and probably get a better result.
Exactly. Remember when you applied to jobs back in the day, if you did, right? If you started, I know a lot of CEOs start out of college being CEOs, but some that did, back in the day, used to have to like write cover letters and do resumes and all of that. And now you have a LinkedIn profile, you just apply on LinkedIn or on Indeed, right? Indeed grew because just one click apply on your phone. So here is the same thing. You don't have to write anymore. You don't have to, think about it. All you need to just make sure you're reviewing this is opportunity and foundation or grant that you want to apply for and work with. It does everything for you. It generates a really high quality proposal for a project that's like highly likely to succeed, not just get funded, but also easily to be implemented and create impact.
Well, that
Because
sounds like the holy grail to me if I'm an executive director.
yeah,
So
exactly. You want results. And to us, again, we started to do this for ourselves, right? And then we open it up to other clients. We raised almost $1 million in grants, you know, pretty good. And
fantastic
then
start.
we infused AI with additional knowledge of not just how to write a grant, how to come up with decent projects, but also what comes after, right?
Yeah.
Like all the delivery, all the promises that you made, the reporting, all of that. So all of that's included with all those consideration because you can write an amazing project, but if you promise the moon and you can't deliver, what's the point,
I
right?
love it. I love it.
So
So Nin, thank you very much, and tell people how they can reach out to you for your latest project here called Gravity.
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm super, available on all the social media. So just hit me up. Just search Ninh Tran, Gravity, Grav.id, or Ninh Tran Nonprofits, and you'll find me.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, Glenn. That was awesome. Should come back again.
Okay, maybe we'll do that.
Sounds good.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Scaling CEO. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow CEO who could benefit. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a quick rating as it really helps more people find the show. I'm Glenn Gao, the CEO Success Coach. See you next time for more proven strategies to grow your business and leadership.